This is all about how to market yourself as a freelance copywriter, how to position yourself using the untemplate principles to convert high ticket clients, clients that are going to invest, not pay you, invest a lot of money into you, more money than you've ever made in your entire career. And it's a quantum leap that you can make today. One of the key points, or a few of the key points that I'm going to go over here is I don't care where you are in your career. You can be making 10K, 20K a month. You can be barely making it, somewhere in between feast or famine. And regardless of where you are, by applying this stuff starting today, it is going to make it possible for monies that would have never found your bank account to get in there today. Because when you use this stuff, you're able to meet people, meet high-level entrepreneurs that have already made a lot of money working with people like you, copywriters, but didn't have the ability to know what they're doing and why, which is what you're armed with all the untemplate heuristic puzzle pieces. You're able to, instead of trying to fit information into a template that doesn't encourage you or inspire you or give you any indication on how to ask the right questions and do your 80%. So everything you write is gambling versus actually knowing what you're doing and why, what biases you're triggering, how you're triggering dopamine, how you isolate the mechanism and the deeper core, the deeper cause, and then the new cause or causes for why everything else didn't work. You're able to apply those very same principles in attracting and converting clients that are going to pay you $10, $20, $50,000 up front and be excited to give you performance money. Because when you demonstrate your ability to sell anything in any space, and more so take an offer that can help lots of different people and create controls in different verticals under the umbrella of their bigger, broader market, you're not only in demand, but you're personally making a lot of money that allows you to make brand new decisions in your career. So closing starts with the mechanism. Everything in the heuristic copywriting that I teach, it all starts with mechanism. So you can convert a high ticket client inside 30 seconds or a minute when you understand how their offer is going to help the most people, how we're going to be able to help their prospects suspend their disbelief so that they become clients and customers, their clients and customers. Because as we know, the more people we help, the more money we make. And so giving people that path of least resistance to believe is how everybody's going to make the most money. And so you're going to be able to ask the prospect the right questions so that you can isolate quickly the mechanism and therefore the new cause, because they're the different sides of the same coin, why everything else didn't work and why this does. And you're going to be able to spit out copy like crazy because you're able to understand how the mechanism works, even if you have no experience in that market. But let's say it's health and you've never written for a supplement before. And you quickly isolate what the hero ingredient is by asking, what ingredients are you most excited about? And they tell you. And then you're able to quickly do your 80%, hopefully having some knowledge about health. If you don't, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And you need to do some of your 80% beforehand, which we're also going to talk about, so that you're armed with the ability to quickly execute, demonstrate what that mechanism means in the live marketplace, in the advertising marketplace. And that also gives you the ability to mirror neurons, prospects' hopes, high ticket prospects' hopes, because they have a vision. They want you to mirror that. And they want you to demonstrate how easily and quickly it's possible and probable by knowing what we're doing and why. What ingredients do we need to convert? Stories, mechanism, new cause. Those are the three main ingredients. You're going to be able to make people millions of dollars with just those three things. So being able to mirror that, spit copy off the top of your head, is absolutely huge, because that's going to allow them to see themselves in your abilities and your genius. That creates credibility, that creates trust. And trust is essential in any relationship. So, and I'm going to go over how to get prospects on the phone, on Zoom, Skype, whatever it is. But these are the critical things that you need to know in order to convert 9 out of 10 people. To know what you're doing, what you're saying in your front end advertising in order to have these conversations. So what are these conversations that you're advertising? That's why we're going in this hierarchy. Confirming, confirmation bias. What if an offer works and you understand the mechanism, then you're going to be able to confirm it and get them even more excited about getting this offer launched and out there, or optimized and out there. So how are you going to be able to confirm their excitement, confirm their vision, confirm the possibilities, and help them see even more probabilities? Future pacing, taking them on a holographic imagination experience, so that they can see in their mental movie theater, in the Hollywood screen in their head, exactly what it is that you're going to be able to help them produce. And this is just phase 1 of that process. And then challenging. One of the things you're going to hear repetitively again is most copywriters coming up in this business through Copy Accelerator and things of that ilk are about swiping, stealing. When I recorded this earlier and you couldn't see my screen, I talked about a copywriter I called out that I found on TikTok, who I later discovered everybody knows and is a student of Copy Accelerator. And I posted, this is exactly the opposite of what you need to do if you want to make an impact in advertising and make an incredible living as a copywriter, as a freelance copywriter. And I got all kinds of shit for it. Not, I don't think directly, but essentially calling me a bully and that I don't understand what swiping is. It's not really stealing. And that there's gray area that I don't see. Well, there is not. There's no gray area. The only reason why you look at the competition ever, because I don't look at other copywriters, and I don't look at the competition when I'm writing for offers. Very rarely. And when I do, I'm looking at it to get the dog whistle language, the story people are telling about the problem we can help them solve, so that I can bring that information to the call. And they're going to have preconceptions, like how many times over my career, oh, I want you to write it like John Benson. I want you to do it like Craig Clemens. I want you to do it like insert whatever ClickBank control is, killing it right now. And by the way, ClickBank is the last place that you want to look for effective marketing, cold traffic marketing, because most of the offers on ClickBank are all based on lies and completely non-compliant, even though the people at ClickBank pretend to have compliance, but they don't have compliance. Because once you're approved for whatever it is that you want to run, and you could give them a dummy VSL, then you just pop in the hot link of what you really want to run, and they don't do anything about it. Everybody does it. So what's compliance over there? You're just seeing people say whatever they want to say in order to make the sale, and they churn and burn. That's not real advertising. That's a money grab. That's hustling. That's not offering value or even caring about value. That's people patting themselves on the back for stealing the most money out of people's pockets, usually swiping and stealing from other copywriters' ideas that have also stolen and swiped from other copywriters and people's ideas. It's a toxic circle jerk, And you can get out of that toxic circle jerk and challenge business owners on a more effective way to build cold traffic controls and achieve scalability in multiple verticals in their broader market. And then how to respond to data, which we're going to get into later, open loop. Because if you don't know how to respond to data, in other words, you don't know what you did, why you did it. Let's say the first 30 seconds of a VSL, you're going to wonder why you lost 80% of your traffic, of your viewership. You're not going to know how to fix it. What went wrong, whether it's in the VSL, whether it's in the ad pre-qualification, whatever, whether it's your entire positioning is completely off and will never resonate, you won't know those things. And so you can't help entrepreneurs respond to data, which makes you less of a valuable investment. In fact, it makes you gamble. It makes putting money in your pocket gambling. And that's what happens when you work in a templated mindset and you're not able to challenge, because all you're doing is confirming their bias that swiping and stealing is the best way to go, when in reality, it's you being a complete and total hack, no offense, and not knowing what to do, why to do it, and why it works. And therefore, how to respond to data and how to be a leader, which we'll talk about later. Your challenging has to be in how to achieve maximum positioning to meet people at the high water mark of the problem you can help them solve. Positioning is the hook. And you have to be able to demonstrate what that looks like. We're going to get into that more open loop. So this is a value proposition conversation. If you can't communicate mechanism in the first 30 seconds or minute of the conversation, your value is immediately down, because they can't see what you're going to do and how you do it, because you don't know. That doesn't make you valuable at all. Why would anybody put money in your pocket if you can't, in the course of that conversation, mirror why their offer is so valuable, confirming what they know, but then challenging them on more effective ways of doing it that are authentic and in integrity and have character and have the ability to scale exponentially and become 9-figure exits, 8-figure exits, because that's what they want. They want you to help them get their exit. They want you to help them build brands that stand the test of time, not churn and burn like clickbait campaigns. Even the best clickbait campaigns churn and burn fairly quickly. Back in the day, like 2010, 11, 12, things like Fat Loss Factor, Brad Callen and Dr. Charles Livingston, that went for 2 years. That's his #1 control. And it was actually based on science and real stories. It's been a long time since a clickbait control was actually based on any reality. That's not advertising, ladies and gentlemen. That's stealing, because you're not helping. And you can do that if you want, but you can also do what I'm talking about and understand all of the puzzle pieces that we could put together any way we want to position offers in the most effective way that is going to convert the people that we can help the most, and then keep them subscribing, keep them in churn. And if they don't have that subscription model, to help them develop it, because if they're going to get that 8 or 9-figure exit, they have to have subscription. They have to have churn. Think Netflix. If somebody's subscribing to Netflix an average of 6 to 9 months, they're making a lot of money from an acquisition. That acquisition is worth, if you look at the 1 year or lifetime value, that acquisition is worth a lot of money, which impresses potential buyers of your high ticket prospects business, that you help them grow and that you will get back in once you prove out performance. So the value proposition is, how am I going to get ROI out of you? Everybody wants ROI, of course, but you have to be able to demonstrate how and why you're going to be able to do that, and do that quickly. And why you're challenging, the way your vision, the way you're going to do it is more effective. And you don't have to have my track record in order to do that. Because when you utilize these principles, when you're advertising and talking with high ticket prospects, you are converting them the same way that you're helping convert their offers. By understanding the story they're telling about the problem you can help them solve, and understanding the conversation that you're having with high ticket prospects are very different than low or mid-level entrepreneurs. You're never once educating them. This is not about education. This is about demonstrating how you're quickly able to take any offer and put it in front of the right people, the lowest hanging fruit, and where all the individual verticals are within the broader umbrella of that marketplace, so that they can have multiple controls that they can scale. That's how you become worth it. That's how you build the value proposition of a high ticket prospect wanting excitingly to invest in you, to put money in your pocket, because they are confident that you will give them an ROI and you have met every one of their objections and new causes by demonstrating mechanism, just like you would do to prospects. And we're going to explore that more. Now, the 80% factor is huge in writing copy. You cannot sit down to write copy until you've done the 80%. Now, I've been in this business for 18 years. I have done 80% on so many things that I'm able to have an intelligent conversation with any business owner in any space. And I'm able to ask the right questions, which we're going to get into, so that I'm able to isolate mechanism and demonstrate my ability to lead towards effective advertising and quickly scalable controls, and how to respond to data, because I know what I'm doing and why, and I'm able to communicate all of that transparently. So the 80% is, if you don't know anything about an industry, well, then yeah, it is appropriate to look at their links and get a sense of what they're doing. How are they utilizing mechanism? Are they utilizing mechanism? A lot of times they're not. And just by doing that, you're elevating their profitability potential exponentially, just by doing that one thing. And that goes back to the value proposition. You just increased your value proposition exponentially by being able to do that, because you did your 80% and you are able to ask the right questions. And that's huge. This is the Einstein factor, the genius factor, the thing that automatically separates you from every other copywriter, because you're able to approach conversations in ways they can't, because they're fitting things into a template, and you exploded the box a long time ago. You don't think outside the box. You exploded that sumbitch, because you know the questions to ask to get all the ingredients you need in front of you to position any offer at the high water mark of emotion and hook people instantly. That's what I teach, and that's what we discover in this heuristic copywriting principle, in these heuristic copywriting principles, and the untemplate VSL, but VSLs to every aspect of every part of every funnel. So no, it's, if you go onto a call and you're not confident in your 80%, the answers aren't going to flow through you. You're not going to be able, you're going to be on a different frequency, and you're not going to be able to resonate with the people that you can help, with the high ticket clients you can help get their offers in front of the people they help the most, where everybody makes the most money. So what questions do you need to ask to isolate that mechanism quickly and demonstrate how it would look in a front-facing way on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Google Display? That's your job, not just writing copy, because you can't write copy until you convert them, understand the market so you can convert them, do the 80%, and then do the 80% on the market, the people themselves that are telling the story we can help them solve. But again, you need to be able to demonstrate that, how and why you can do it. Just like if you're responding to data. That's what turns high-level entrepreneurs on, entrepreneurs that have already made tens, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars in digital marketing, digital advertising. Again, that's what separates you from every sane copywriter swiping and stealing and pretending to be experts when all they're doing is acting out really bad coaching and embarrassing themselves and making the industry toxic, making the advertising industry worse, and increasing market sophistication in ways that we need to be hyper aware of so that we don't fall into their same traps. that's the awareness that you need to communicate when you're doing the 80% in that first 30 seconds, 1 minute on a call with a high ticket prospect. That's what they need to hear in order to suspend their disbelief and trust that you are the next copywriter they need to be working with today. And that's one of the reasons why I said earlier, you can have $20,000 in your account today. You can be broke and have $20,000 in your account today by doing this. But as you'll discover later, you have to come from the right mindset, the right thinking place, the right feeling place, because you can't create abundance when you're coming from a place of scarcity. You can't have a happy ending to an unhappy story. So that means the 80% is your best friend, because that's going to arm you with questions to quickly isolate the mechanism or get deeper into the core of why that mechanism works and why everything else didn't. New cause. Just right off the top of your head, right off the dome. And that's how you're going to make a lot of money and make people a lot of money, make high ticket clients a lot of money, help the most people, build brands that become symbol for what they solve or satisfy, which is what your brand needs to symbolize as well, which once again, we will get to further. So when you haven't been 18 years in the business, you need to do your 80% to get ready for a Zoom call, to get ready for a Skype call, to get ready for a phone call, so that you can meet entrepreneurs where they're at, meet high ticket entrepreneurs where they're at, even if you personally have not made millions. I have. So I can meet people at that frequency easily, authentically. But you're not faking it till you make it. You're simply demonstrating what you can do for them in the end prospect to your high ticket prospects. That's the power of the 80%, which means that you want to spend as much time there as you need and back process it. And back processing is a part of the new rules of responsibility, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, which once again, we'll get to in a second. So what story are people telling about the problem you can help them solve? Stop researching the competition. We're looking for the dog whistle narrative that people are telling, so that when you talk to high ticket prospects, you're able to spit that again off the dome, coming off the tip of your tongue, because you've done the 80%. And now you can ask your high ticket prospect the right questions that help them see your ability to position their offer in front of the people they help the most. That's what this is all about. The deeper core, there's always a reason why even high ticket entrepreneurs haven't made as much money as they can and should. And a new cause for them, for instance, are people who have gone through Copy Accelerator, are people who have been taught, who have learned how to swipe in life for a living, but convince themselves that's not what they're doing because they're repurposing it and making it their own. That's not advertising. That's not copywriting. That's being lazy. And that's not understanding what questions to ask, so that you are hyper aware of what you're doing and why it's going to convert and how to respond to data. Again, those are all things they're looking for. If you don't have that, you are irrelevant in the business, and you need to do your 80% so that you're prepared to show up in that way. That's your work. That's your job as a business owner. As a business owner, you need to be putting energy every single day into your business. But as we'll talk about, effort doesn't equal results. Having the right mindset sets the gestation period for how quickly those things become your reality. Understanding the deeper core, the deeper reason why entrepreneurs, high-ticket entrepreneurs, haven't made as much money as they can with other high-ticket copywriters and marketers is going to help suspend their disbelief faster, and then edify what we talked about over back here, the value proposition. In other words, you're more valuable. You're constantly building your value. And so the proposition keeps going up. You're able to ask for more. In other words, you're not worth 8,000, you're worth 18,000 now. Oh, sorry, you're not worth 18,000, you're worth 28,000 now. Think about how quickly you can make more money just by being confident in what you're doing and why, so that you're able to then also fulfill everything you're promising the high ticket prospects by doing everything that I teach in the template. Positioning is the hook. Where you enter the conversation means everything. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you enter the conversation by trying to convince them that copywriting is invaluable for them to make money? Oh, they've already worked with top copywriters. If you tell them that, it makes you look like a hack. If you tell them you need to swipe from the competition in order to convert, do you think that makes you look like an A-lister superstar? No, it makes you look like an idiot who doesn't know what it actually takes to build controls that can scale and stand the test of time, that aren't clickbait, churn and burn type things that might even convert out of the gate, but never, ever stand the test of time. So you're positioning yourself as the person who has the ability to create 8 and 9 figure exits by everything that I just talked about. Coming to the table, being able to show up as that leader, which we're about to get into, but that's your positioning. Because you're able to meet them where they're at, high ticket prospects, and suspend their disbelief, just like you would any prospect selling any offer. The same principles you use to sell any offer out in the front facing, like a cell phone, is the same thing you use to convert high ticket prospects and attract them into the conversations in the first place, which we're also going to get into. Okay, so some of this is going to be repetitive, but we're also approaching new. And it starts with your insight, your foresight, your ability to see ahead of the curve, to know where a niche or market is going and why. If you can't communicate the why, what do you actually know? What are you actually aware of? Nothing. You're talking out of your ass. You're trying to sound important when you're not actually spitting out truth. It makes you look dumb. So that goes back to the 80%, and then knowing how to communicate that insight in a way that triggers dopamine and makes you a symbol for what you solve or satisfy, which is being the copywriter I need to work with next. That's how it's done. So when you've done your 80% and you can reveal specific market insights about that market awareness, about how you're going to be able to hyper connect with prospects in ways that nobody else is, and the way that you're demonstrating mechanism or new cost to them, or testimonial stories, or UGC, or all of that combined, that further suspends their disbelief in what you're going to be able to predictably execute. That you're not just selling them so you can get paid, but here's how we're going to execute. Here's what we're doing. And then getting back to the alternative or the challenging that we talked about, this is taking all of your 80% and once again, future pacing it, which then goes into the vision of being able to spit that hyper positioning, the hook, and being able to demonstrate to high ticket prospects on the Zoom call, on the telephone, on the Skype, on whatever platform, what you're going to put in front of their prospects. And that gives them massive dopamine and keeps making you more and more and more the symbol that they've been looking for, that excites them, that helps them see that this is all coming to fruition. And you're the missing piece that makes it all possible, which once again increases the value proposition or what you're worth to them because of how much money you're exposing that's on the table, and not just one vertical either. You know, it's like the sunscreen that I talked about. Yeah, we can go after the 50 plus and help them get back to where they used to be. Or now, because I'm hyper aware of market sophistication in skincare, we can sell to the younger demos who are wholeheartedly interested in preventing aging and would die to have this sunscreen. Men, bald men, there's one specific vertical right there that can be its own control. And the fact that I'm aware of that and where the market sophistication is or awareness is in each of those specific niches allows me to predictably create controls, a lot of them in different verticals, not just the broader one that they've been focusing on. Because specificity ultimately wins over the broad, but both can have high ROAS. So they're able to invest more ad spend and get more ROAS out, which once again increases your value proposition. Once again, positioning is the hook. And what makes you stand out from the white noise is being able to express how you're different than the swipers and stealers. And that's everything that we've talked about. This is just putting a bow on that conversation, helping people understand in how you position yourself that you are different because you know what you're doing and why. You know what heuristic puzzle pieces you're looking for all the ingredients that you as the chef in the kitchen that you need in front of you to create the perfect appetizer, entree, and dessert, or the perfect front end pre-sale page that creates the front end conversion and upsells. And that you are able to approach it from a perspective that is not based on what the competition is doing or what other copywriters are doing in the space, but are based on the story or people are telling, the end customers are telling, the end clients are telling about the problem we can help them solve. And hyper positioning mechanism, just as you demonstrated, which keeps increasing your value proposition. It never ends, does it? But in the most positive way. So this little white guy, you are him, her, they, while everybody else are white noise fading into the background because you're meeting high ticket prospects where they are. You're not trying to educate them. You're not telling them things they already know. You're not comparing yourself to other copywriters. You're demonstrating the peak of digital marketing leadership because copywriters are all encompassing digital marketers. We have to know every aspect of what we're doing and why. And they respect that. So how do you get them on the phone? How do you get them on the Zoom? How do you have these conversations so that you can get those high ticket monies in your PayPal and your bank account and your Stripe account and whatever account that you're using? Well, first of all, it's demonstrating your 80% in every market. And we're going to talk about this later, wearing too many hats. You don't want to wear too many hats. You don't want to be everything to everybody, but that doesn't mean that you can't write in every space because you know how to do your 80%. Again, that's what thinking and strategizing in an untemplated way accomplishes. So now you need to demonstrate that in your front-facing advertising, that you know and are aware of things that people from like Copy Accelerator have never even heard of or can't vaguely begin to understand because they have all the wrong coaching. And that's only to your benefit. You don't need to even bring them up like I am right now. You just simply demonstrate in your social media videos, in your social media stories, your why for being in this business, your why for creating community that stands for something, a brand that is the symbol of copywriting excellence and authenticity that you're able to sell real instead of and knowing how to do that so that you build brands that stand the test of time instead of churn and burn campaigns that make a little bit of money and then you have to move on to what's next and there's no such thing as an 8 or 9 figure exit. Do you see the value proposition here and how you can stand out? Your posts aren't just about demonstrating your writing ability, your copywriting ability, but in telling stories, which we'll get to more in a second. Your brand can't stand for anything if you don't have a why. In my social stories, I have one of the smallest social media reaches of top copywriters out there, and yet I still convert high-ticket clients off of them. With how few people see, that's pretty cool. And there are newbie copywriters that have built bigger communities than I, but aren't leveraging it in ways that actually make them real money because they're still listening to bad coaching. And so they're not able to stand out from the copywriting competition. They become a symbol of more sameness. So if you want to be a symbol of sameness, think templated, think Copy Accelerator. If you want to be untemplated, then you need to know how to do your 80%, ask the right questions, and demonstrate mechanism in everything that you do so that you can get high-ticket entrepreneurs on the phone and demonstrate it specifically for them and convert them and get that high-end ticket front-end money and get that performance royalty money that pays for your retirement, that gives you the right to say fuck you to anybody that you don't want to work with, which, believe me, is incredibly satisfying. And I highly recommend it. But these are all beacons. This is a beacon. These are all beacons of light so that the people that you want to work with, the people, the high ticket entrepreneurs that can pay you the most can find you, regardless of having a reputation like me that's done 9 figures in profits. And that's what your posts need to demonstrate. Your ability to see the marketplace, see that person's marketplace, so you can focus specifically on health, or you can talk in a broader sense about how mechanism is the foundation for suspending prospects' disbelief and helping them mirror neuron with your campaign. And exactly how I'm seeing you seeing yourself and me writing your copy and blasting your offer, I'm going to do that for the people that you help the most. And they're like, wow, damn, that's cool, dude. And it really is that simple. When you do your 80%, when you know how to ask the right questions, and when you let yourself quickly back process so you can spit copy off the tip of your tongue. Your posts, your videos are a way of letting people feel your energy. They're you putting energy out there for them to exchange. So you have to put the right energy out, not putting the most energy out. And we're going to get into the mindset aspects of this, because you can post every day and still get nothing. You have to be in the right frequency in order to meet high ticket entrepreneurs and prospects where they're at. You don't do it, you ain't connecting, you ain't resonating, and you definitely ain't converting. So what do I write about? What do I talk about, Machete? Back in the day, I used to do videos like every day. And I would talk about what's going on in my life, what experiences I'm having, without even necessarily talking about clients by name or dropping names or giving specific numbers, because some of my clients do value their privacy and don't want me posting their stuff. And that's quite a few of them, and that's okay. I don't need to, because the way I talk about it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't true. And that's what people who are of the high ticket ilk quickly resonate with, and therefore mirror neuron with, see themselves in me and what I can do for them and how I can help the people they help the most. They're able to put those pieces together automatically because I'm putting that energy out for them to exchange. And I do it by telling my stories. You know, when I got started in this business, I hid my story like crazy because I grew up homeless and poor and blah, blah, blah. But it was all those things that made me who I am. I've never read a single copywriting book. Well, then how did you learn this, Pachetti? Well, let me tell you about that. And I write posts about it. I tell stories about it while demonstrating my ability to tap in the mechanism and what converts people at the highest possible level. What builds brands that become 8 and 9 figure exits. By being vulnerable about my story, I'm able to peel back the curtain. And I did this when I tried to record earlier, but I'm going to tell the same story. So if you ever hear this repetitive, but for 99.999999999% of the people who are going to watch this, this is new. And it's about the Democratic National Convention when Barack Obama was seeking re-election for presidency. Bill Clinton gave the keynote speech before him. And what Bill Clinton did in his body language and how calm he was, he looked like he just got a massage, everything just flowing off the tip of his tongue. He peels back the curtain. He lets you see what's going on, what these political people that all you see is what they say on the news. And if you go to rallies and things like that, that's all you see and hear. But let me show you this. Here's what's really going on. And when your posts are able to peel back the curtain on the direct response industry and advertising in general, and what's working and what isn't working, not based on popularity contests or who wrote what or whatever, but why things work, mechanism, why they don't work, the lack of it, the lack of the ability to tap in, why everything else didn't work, was just something people have to reconcile before they open their wallets. Both high ticket clients and the prospects we help them help the most. So you have to tell stories. about yourself in this business, in this world, that gave you skills that nobody else has. Stories sell. Stories are how we see ourselves in each other, how we feel each other's energies, how we give energy back to each other. And that's your responsibility. Oh, speaking of responsibility, there are very new rules when you are a freelance copywriter entrepreneur. When you are a business owner, you're not clocking in and out. You're not just working for the sake of working. Effort does not equal results. The amount of posts you post do not equal the amount of money that's in your bank account. That's not how it works. And I'm going to tell you how it works in a minute, but the new rules of responsibility after you do your 80% on anything are unplugging. Doing everything but thinking about that, whatever that is, so that your subconscious is churning it. And then when you get on the Zoom call with people who are responding to your beacons of light, are exchanging the energy you put out, you're able to quickly lead that call and do everything that I talked about in the beginning of this webinar. And that's what makes you brilliant, is that you're able to give yourself the time and space you need to show up as the leader they need. That's how we all make money together. Not trying to persuade and convince and manipulate, but tell them exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And you can't do that unless you give yourself the time and space, the back process, so that you aren't intellectually, cerebrally trying to contrive words out of your mouth, but you can't actually stop words from coming out of your mouth. Do you see me struggling? I'm connected to the essence of this. I know how to help you make the most money by help them make the most money, and how to do that in your ads, your posts, your videos, and how to reveal, how to pull back the curtain of direct responsive copywriting so that they can see the new cause for the reason why working with those other 4 copywriters didn't quite get them the results they wanted and needed and deserve, and how you can. Automatic contrast when you reveal things and confirm things that they know, or tap into the negative biases they're afraid of experiencing, like development hell when projects go sideways, because copywriters don't know how to lead to respond to enter the data, or how to lead in developing a project, where to position it entirely at all to get the lowest hanging fruit, so that there's more resources to create more verticals and have multiple controls. So the new rules of responsibility are unplugging, giving yourself the freaking time to digest the 80% so that you're able to show up as the leader they need. Always. And that goes for when writing for the end prospect, when they hire you as well. If you don't do that, it all falls apart. The house of cards falls apart. So here's something that most guru copywriters don't talk about, and this is the mindset factor. And this is really where all the money's made. This is where I've made all of my money. You can throw everything I just said out the window and just focus on this and utilize it in your own life in your own way, and you will see results that you've never achieved before. Mark my words. Scarcity is a dangerous thing. When we tell scarcity stories, it means our attention is hyper-focused on scarcity circumstances, scarcity experiences, scarcity results. And therefore, everything we do feels like we're pretending, or imposter syndrome comes up. That's a waste of time, isn't it? But scarcity is also very comfortable because it's repetitive and it's predictable for the brain. So we get stuck in it and we keep telling scarcity stories, and you're always becoming the story you're telling right now. You're always becoming where your attention is focused right now, not on your intentions, declarations, your prayers, your goals. It's easy to make all those things, but then let your attention go towards the scarcity story. And if you post from a place of scarcity, people feel that. So you have to tap into abundance. It's your natural state to be abundant. It's your natural state to be successful. I bet nobody's told you that before. But it's not automatic. You don't deserve it. You have to show up for it. You have to create room in your life and your reality for it to come in and exist. That's why we do the 80%. That's why I read books about psychology and heuristics and dopamine and chemicals and colors and whatever to have these conversations with high ticket entrepreneurs. Because I'm interested in helping the most people. That's where my focus is. And I can't focus on helping the most people if I'm just worried about paying my rent, buying food, putting gas in the car. That turns on nobody on ever. And this is not about you. People are not interested in paying your bills. They're interested in the value proposition we talked about earlier. And if you can't show up for that value proposition, your circumstances ain't changing. You ain't converting high ticket prospects. You probably aren't even going to talk to high ticket prospects because they're not going to feel attracted to you, to your energy, to the beacons and energy that you're putting out to exchange. They're not going to exchange it with you. So abundance, you have to believe abundance is your natural state. You aren't creating it. You're creating room for it to come into your life. And the story you're telling needs to reflect that, needs to mirror it. And you have to have the discipline to keep telling that story and not feel compelled to complain about your current circumstances, because then you're becoming more of them. You're writing more about it, or you're faking positivity in your posts and they come across as insincere pieces of shit, or that you're trying to convince me of something that you're really just trying to convince yourself of. People know that. It comes through. It's not just your fear. It's not your negative bias. Let me confirm that bias. They know when you need money, and they're not going to give it to you when you come from scarcity. When you come from abundance, you can focus on how you're going to help me help the people I help the most. Listen to that again. You're going to help me help the people I help the most. You're going to help me achieve that 8 and 9 figure exit. You're going to help me build a brand that becomes a symbol for what I solve or satisfy, so that it stands the test of time and not churns and burns like stupid clickbait campaigns. You have to be able to tell that story. So what makes you feel abundant? Remember the new rules of responsibility? Your first rule of responsibility is to be happy and feel good, feel abundant, to appreciate what you are, where you are, what you have, and not judge it. Because if you're judging it, you can't judge your circumstances and change them. They're two completely different decisions. Which one do you choose? Now you have that awareness. You have to choose deliberately with discipline which direction you're going, which story you're telling, what you're empowering with your attention, and how it comes through in your posts, in your videos, in your paid advertising, in your comments and other people's threads and communities. That energy comes through for exchange. So what energy are you putting out for exchange? If it's coming from scarcity, you're not going to like what's exchanged or not exchanged at all. And if it's coming from abundance, you're going to be jumping in joy, fist pumping every freaking moment of every freaking day. You are the gestation period. You're the only person who can tell the story. You're the only person who can be the director of your attention. But if you don't believe that you can perform, if you don't believe that you can do what I'm talking about, then you need to go back to the 80% and unplug, back to the 80% and unplug until you can show up bravely and admit what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, but we will. Have faith in that, have trust in that, and let that energy come through so that people, again, can exchange it. They know that you are advocating for them, not selling them. And therefore, you're going to do whatever it takes to conquer that 80% for them, for yourself, and to help the most people. That's the mindset that you need to have. And that's why one post can be more effective than 100 posts. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And if you're coming from scarcity, you shouldn't be wasting your time, because that effort damn sure as hell ain't going to equal results. So am I the copywriter that everybody wants to hire? Do I need to be an expert in health and finance and MMO and crypto and, whatever, all these different spaces, dating and relationships and coaching? No. You don't need to have any experience in any of those things, and you don't need to be talking about it. But if you have passions that are very specific, like health or finance or self-development or whatever it is, blast that passion. Let it come through. Let the tap into that essence and let it come through you and affect people in your post so that they can exchange that energy. It's not about being everything to everybody. And at the same time, you can write in any space when you follow the templated principles. You can conquer the 80% in any space and understand the dog whistle language and story people are telling about the problem you can help them solve no matter what it is. And it doesn't matter if you don't know it yet. But you don't need to advertise as everything to everybody. Get specific. Because there are other people who feel and think the same way that will mirror with you. Just remember, you're not educating. You're allowing in. You're sharing so that they can exchange that energy. You're not trying to be a guru. You're not telling me the way it is. You're telling me your stories, your experience, and why you're putting this information in front of me. Why it's helping me. That's your job. Not being everything to everybody. But you can wear all these different hats. You're just wearing them one at a time. And you're taking the time to know more than everybody else in the room about the problem you need to help that client solve. So that we help the most people and all make the most money. Simple little equation. Lastly, guaranteeing your work. And I didn't have a slide for this, but if you want that back end money, then you need to help people achieve at least one certain metric on a cold traffic platform that is scalable. I don't care if it's 2x ROAS on Facebook on an average consistent basis. You need to show up, perform, do everything that we've talked about, do your 80% in every aspect of selling that high ticket client's offer, and that we are going to respond to data and hit these metrics. That gives people a feeling of serotonin that, hey, you got my back, man. That's great, because no other copywriters do this. And you're right, yeah, because they don't know how. I do. That's why I'm able to do it. Because of everything we've talked about.